This is my 2019 NFL mock draft, first round predictions with trades. And with the first overall pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals trading with the New York Giants. The Arizona Cardinals are not going to take Kyler Murray, and they're going to build around Josh Rosen. So they're going to trade back and acquire more picks. And with the first overall pick, the New York Giants select Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the best quarterback in this year's draft, and Dave Gettleman is going to trade up and get him. They need their future franchise quarterback. Eli Manning's getting old and is not playing at a very high level. So the New York Giants are going to take Kyler Murray. With the second overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers are going to take Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is obvious here for the 49ers. The 49ers obviously love him. And if he's available here, they should take him, considering that they need edge rusher and they can move some of their other edge rushers that they drafted a couple years ago into the interior where they'll be able to play better. He suits better than Quinnen Williams, so they go with Nick Bosa over Quinnen Williams. And with the third overall pick, I have the New York Jets trading with Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are going to trade back up, so that way they can get Quinnen Williams, because the New York Jets want to acquire more picks, and so the Cardinals will give them more picks, so that way they can get Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams makes sense for the Arizona Cardinals here. They need a defensive tackle, someone that can stop the run and help them get after the quarterback. So Quinnen Williams is a perfect fit here. With the fourth overall pick, the Oakland Raiders are going to select Josh Allen. They've had a big hole at edge rusher since Khalil Mack left, and Josh Allen makes a lot of sense. He had 17 sacks in the SEC last year in college, which was more than the Raiders roster had combined. With the fifth overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to take Ed Oliver, defensive tackle out of Houston. They reportedly want to trade Gerald McCoy, so they're going to need a new defensive tackle up front to help them stop the run and get after the quarterback. So they're going to go with Houston's Ed Oliver. And then with the sixth pick, since the Jets did trade back, they're going to take Jonah Williams, get the best tackle in the draft to help protect Sam Darnold and help Le'Veon Bell in the running game. With 7 overall pick, the Jags are going to take TJ Hawkinson. The Jags cannot afford any team taking TJ Hawkinson behind them, as a bunch of teams are interested. They really like TJ Hawkinson because he can be a great pass catcher and also help Leonard Fournette on the running game. So they go with TJ Hawkinson here. And then with the 8th overall pick, the Detroit Lions are going to trade with the Washington Redskins. The Redskins want to trade up here so that way they can get Dwayne Haskins. They reportedly really like Dwayne Haskins and are really targeting him, and which makes a lot of sense here because they do need a quarterback for the future, and he can sit behind Case Keenum and Alex Smith for this year and learn. With the 9th overall pick, the Bills go with Rashawn Gary. I'm not a big fan of Rashawn Gary, but he is projected to go very high. I feel like the Bills would really like him, considering they need an edge rusher, and if they want, they can move him into the interior and have him play defensive tackle. So either way, he can fit one of those needs on the defensive line. With the 10th overall pick, the Broncos go with Devin White. Nick Fangio needs his new Roquan Smith, so he goes with Devin White here and gets a leader of the Broncos defense for the future. With the Bengals with the 11th overall pick are going to trade with the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans desperately need offensive tackle help so that way Deshaun Watson does not get sacked. So the Houston Texans are going to go with Andre Dillard out of Washington State, the best pass blocking offensive tackle. They don't really need to worry about getting a great run blocker like Jawan Taylor right here. They need to worry about getting a great pass blocker to help out Deshaun Watson. Andre Dillard's the best pass blocker in the draft, so they are going to go with Andre Dillard. And then with the 12th overall pick, the Packers are going to go with Jawan Taylor. The Packers really like the offensive lineman in this year's draft class. That's why the Texans had to trade up and get one before the Packers could. Jawan Taylor here is going to help out the Packers a lot. He's going to kick into guard and then maybe replace Ryan Bulaga, a right tackle, in the future. With the 13th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins are going to go with Dexter Lawrence, with Christian Wilkins out of Clemson. Christian Wilkins is a smart football player, won the academic Heisman, and their new coaching regime should like smart defensive players. With 14 overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons are going to go with Cody Ford out of Oklahoma. They did lose a lot of offensive linemen this year to free agency and retirement. They need someone to come step in right away at right tackle, and Cody Ford can do that for them. With 15 overall pick, since the Detroit Lions did trade back, and they want to trade back so that way they can get a corner where they think they should draft one, which is at 15th overall, and they're going to take DeAndre Baker, cornerback out of Georgia. They need someone opposite to play next to Darius Slay, so that way they can get better in the back end of their secondary. With the 16 overall pick, the Carolina Panthers are going to take Brian Burns, edge rusher out of Florida State. They lost Julius Peppers and just need to get younger at the position. Brian Burns can be their new franchise defensive end that can consistently get them 10 sacks a year. With the 17th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals did acquire this pick from trading with the Giants, so that way the Giants could get Kyler Murray first overall. With this pick, they're going to take Dalton Risner, offensive tackle out of Kansas State. He can play multiple positions on the offensive line, which is what the Cardinals need because they just need to get better at the offensive line overall. They could use anyone at any offensive line position, so they go with Dalton Risner here. With the 18th overall pick, the Vikings take Greg Little, offensive tackle. They are upset that they did not get the best tackle. They did not get some of the top tackles on the board, but Greg Little will hold up well in pass blocking and will help them protect Kirk Cousins. With the 19th overall pick, the first receiver comes off the board. The Tennessee Titans select Marquise Hollywood Brown out of Oklahoma. The most explosive receiver in the draft, can help complement Marcus Mariota and help them get down the field and give them big explosive plays. With the 20th overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan. They need Devin Bush because they lost Ryan Shazier, and they just need to get better at that position at the linebacker core. They need to bring back that athleticism, that leadership that Ryan Shazier brought, and Devin Bush will do exactly that. With the 21st overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks are going to select Byron Murphy, cornerback out of Washington. This is going to be an absolute steal for them in the draft day if this does happen. Byron Murphy should fit in their scheme very well as he is his own corner and would come in right away and be their best cornerback in that secondary. With the 22nd overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens are ecstatic that they get to select DK Metcalf, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. He does have the injury concerns and does kind of remind them of Rashad Perriman, but that will not stop them from taking him, as he will help Lamar Jackson grow as a passer, as he is very fast and has a very wide catch radius, which should help Lamar Jackson's inaccuracy down the field. With the 23rd overall pick, the Bengals are going to take Greedy Williams, cornerback out of LSU. They desperately need another corner to play next to William Jackson. They have no one there. They've drafted a bunch of guys in the first round, but they have not produced. So Greedy Williams will be that guy for them that'll help out their secondary. With the 24th overall pick, the Oakland Raiders are going to have to take Josh Jacobs out of Alabama right here. They have to take him here because the Eagles and the Colts are very interested in Josh Jacobs, and they do not want to afford to lose him, as they are very high on him and really do want him to be their every down running back. And the Philadelphia Eagles select Darnell Savage, safety out of Maryland. The Eagles reportedly really like Darnell Savage, and a bunch of other teams are starting to get very high on him. The Eagles take him here because they do not want to risk having to take him in the second round. They want him now, so they are going to take him here with the 25th overall pick. With the 26th overall pick, the Colts are going to take Jerry Tillery, defensive interior out of Notre Dame. The Colts really need a defensive interior player, and Jerry Tillery is one of the best run stoppers and pass rushers in the defensive interior in this draft. The Colts know that, and they're going to take him here over someone like Dexter Lawrence, who's more of a run stopper than a pass rusher. With the 27th overall pick, Montez Sweat falls down the board. His heart condition really concerns people, but the Oakland Raiders love him. They're going to pair him with Josh Allen on the edge, and they're going to get two pass rushers right away and improve that pass rush, so that way they can get more sacks than 13. With the 28th overall pick, the Chargers are going to take Dexter Lawrence. They desperately need a run stuffer up front, as the Patriots just ran over them all that playoff game. This will help out their linebacking core, is not the best, because he'll be up the front and penetrating the offensive line. And then here, the Seattle Seahawks are going to trade with the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers want to get back into this draft, want to get back into the first round and get a receiver here because they desperately need one to help out Jimmy Garoppolo. They need their number one target, and they're going to take A.J. Brown, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. A.J. Brown, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, ran the hill with Jerry Rice. He's going to be their new Jerry Rice. He's going to be their productive receiver every single year, and he should be their number one option going into this year. At 30, the Packers are going to take Noah Fant, tight end out of Iowa. Noah Fant is a very good tight end, has very good speed, and they will separate. But his drops and his lack of contested catch, I feel like, will have him falling down draft boards. So the Packers are going to get what they think is a steal here and taking Noah Fant with the 30th overall pick. Now the Rams are going to trade here with the Broncos, so the Broncos can trade up and get their franchise quarterback in the first round. The Rams want to trade back to acquire more picks as they do not have a lot in this year's draft. And since the Broncos did trade up, they're going to take Drew Lock, quarterback out of Missouri. They love Drew Lock. They passed on him at 10, but they were able to trade up back up and get him. So now they have their leader on defense and their leader on offense for years to come. And with the 32 overall pick, the very last pick of this mock draft, the New England Patriots are going to take Clelin Ferrell, edge defender out of Clemson. They need to get better at pass rusher, and they will with Clelin Ferrell. So that's it for my first round mock draft predictions.